Hello, Oracles. This is the big week. We've got Tesla's earnings call coming out this week. And today I'm going to be going over the questions. You have the Say questionnaire where you have a lot of the retail investors ask the questions and they go over those on the earnings call. And I'll do my best job today to answer those questions. Now, most of these questions at the top 10 or so stay about the same, but we do have some time before we get to the earnings call. So some of these could change in the order and they may answer some different ones, but I'll go over the ones that are listed as of right now. All right, so the first question is unsupervised FSD still planned to be released in Texas and California this year? What hurdles still exist to make this happen? It's a great question. Obviously, we have FSD that we're working on getting solved this year. Not sure if we're actually going to solve it or not. Obviously, cybercabs are supposed to be hitting the road in 2027, and we can have the robotaxis, which are the currently owned vehicles that are out there being used as ride-sharing vehicles sometime as soon as we get it solved. So this is a great question to see if we are still on track for Texas and California to have FSD unsupervised released. Next question, are there any discussions with other auto companies about licensing FSD? They've already told us that they're speaking to one major manufacturer that they are talking to. I personally think it's Ford. We don't have any insight as to who it is right now, but I know that they are talking to some other auto companies that are out there. Since we have VW and Rivian working together, I'm sure all the automotive makers that are out there right now who do not have any sort of FSD program going for themselves are talking to either Tesla or Google and Waymo to decide what they're going to be doing, because this is going to be the future. And automotive companies need to make sure that they have this equipped in all of their vehicles going forward. So I have no doubt there's a lot of discussions that are going on. But it would be nice to hear if there's anybody else other than the big one that's out there. When will Tesla start selling Optimus and Price? So I think the price is going to be about $25,000. Selling it, obviously, I think we have to wait for Tesla to do more testing on it themselves. Huge plans for them to put it in the factories a lot sooner than I thought. So I think we might end up seeing Optimus getting sold to other people, maybe from a manufacturing standpoint, probably in 2027, maybe around the same time we see the Cybercab going out there. That could potentially happen. So we just have to wait and see. But I'm sure Elon is going to be a lot more optimistic when it comes to timing on this. Don't know if he's going to give us an actual price. I'm guessing 25,000 at least to start. But I'm sure Elon will be a lot more optimistic about this. Maybe he'll tell us 2026. I have no idea. But I think realistically, if they can have everything go to plan, they might start moving those out in 2027, which to me is still way ahead of what I thought they would do. I think we were going to be waiting until the 2030s, but that may be what they end up telling us is 2027-ish. Elon has said publicly that long-term shareholders of Tesla will have the ability to invest in his other companies. Could you provide some clarity, color as to what that looks like? Brokerage firms use FIFO, so anyone who trades won't have the true length of time as an investor. So this comes down to where Elon had mentioned, especially when he bought X, that Tesla shareholders would be rewarded for that and get an opportunity when they end up going public. So I would like to see if we have that opportunity. Obviously, I'd like to get into SpaceX, Starlink if it branches off. I don't know if they're going to be doing something where Tesla shareholders get first dibs onto IPOs if they come out. That I don't know, but it would be nice to get some clarity on some of what they're talking about here. Is Optimus now mostly design locked for 2025 production? So that's going to go back to the other question where they're most likely going to be answering it there. And I would imagine they're going to always continuously be tweaking the design on it. But as far as what's going to be being put out for their first release, it would be nice to know, are they that close to it now where they're at that point, or they still have some design changes that need to be made? Can you please tie purchased FSD to our owner accounts versus locked to the car? This will help us enjoy it at any Tesla we drive by and reward us for hanging on so long, some of us since 2017. Now, personally, this is going to end up happening when they switch over from a lump sum purchase to a month-to-month subscription-based product. Once you go month to month, it's going to be tied to you as the account holder versus to your vehicle. That's where it's going to end up changing. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen when they actually do solve FSD. I don't know if that's going to end up happening when we get to cybercabs actually hitting the roads, but it's going to end up being a subscription-based product, very much like you see for the Netflix, Disney Plus, things like that, and Amazon Prime, where you can either pay month to month or you can get a little bit of a discount if you want to pay for your entire year in full. So that's what's going to happen. And when we hit that point, then it will be locked to the owner and the account. But until then, as long as you can purchase it in a lump sum, they won't roll it to an account, because then all of a sudden you're going to be basically buying FSD for life with a lump sum purchase. They won't do that. we have to wait till we get to the subscription based version. Is there a new affordable Tesla model coming soon? Obviously, we know this. That is the Model Q that is coming out this year. This is going to be the big one that they're going to be talking about on the call. They're not going to give us a big details on it just because they don't want to cannibalize the Model 3 and the Model Y and have the Osborne effect take over from there. But they'll give us more details on the timing of it. They're talking about first half. Is it really still going to be first half? Are we going to hit volume production by the second half of this year? Pricing on it, they're not going to really tell us. They're saying that it's going to be sub 30,000, but I'm still waiting to hear. Maybe Elon can give us some insight as to the EV tax credits. Sounds like Trump just signed an executive order that may be potentially removing the EV tax credits. They're looking at some of the spending that's going on in that area. So it's going to be something to pay attention to because the vehicle they're putting out is going to be more affordable. But as of right now, it looks like base price is maybe only $5,000 less than the lowest priced Model 3. Still a lower price, but if you're losing that EV tax credit, you're no longer getting that sub $30,000 vehicle. So that I think is going to be some clarity that we're going to be getting on this call. What is the status on mass production of the Tesla Semi? How do you project it will affect revenue at scale? So for me, I think it's going to be one of those things where it doesn't really hit revenue significantly. It's going to be a smaller line when it comes to the revenue and the bottom line, but it's going to be something that's going to help their own bottom line because they're using the Tesla Semi, and it's going to be lowering the cost for a lot of other companies out there as well. The mass production on this, I think they're going to start ramping that even more in the next couple of years. So it may take a little more time on that. Obviously, they have more priorities that are in front of them right now, but obviously they know more, and we're going to be getting more details on that on the call. Is it expected that Tesla will need to upgrade Hardware 3 vehicles? And if so, what is the timeline and expected impact to Tesla's CapEx? I do believe that they had mentioned this on the Q3 earnings call when they had discussed how they're going to be doing free upgrades for a lot of people from Hardware 3 because the new FSD does work on them, but it just won't be the same capability. So I believe they did talk about that. So it'll be nice if they can give us some more clarity on that. And again, when it comes to the CapEx, because if they're going to be upgrading people for free, then I'm kind of curious as to, well, what is that expense going to be for Tesla? And then the last one I'll go over today is full voice control of the car via Grok will be a huge improvement. Can you elaborate on that functionality and when we will see it in our cars? This is wild to think about too. Just thinking about how, I've got Alexa in my house and I have Alexa doing things for me. We've got Siri on the different Apple products that are out there. So thinking about that, what happens when you put it into your vehicle? Now, all of a sudden, you're going to be having voice control of your vehicle. If it's going to be driving on its own, then it doesn't matter because you can now be talking to the screen itself. So it's going to be basically like having an Alexa or Siri in your vehicle that's going to be controlling it. And you can be super, super lazy because God forbid you have to reach your arm forward to actually hit a button on the screen. But it will be pretty awesome. You can just talk and say, hey, take me to this place. Just talking to your car to tell it to take you to a certain location is awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this technology is really good to grow in the future. So that's it that I've got for the questions today. Obviously, like I said, some of those might change. They might answer more or less. We'll see what actually happens on the earnings call. Then, of course, they're also going to be having the analyst questions get answered after they do the retail questions. They've done a really good job of answering more and more of the retail questions on these earnings calls. So pretty excited about that. And they really kind of give us that information. They want to give us as much clarity and transparency as they possibly can. Obviously, there's some things that they don't want to tell us right now. There's things that could cause, Osborning when it comes to that Model Q, little things like that we can't tell. But I'm hoping maybe on this call, because Elon is a bit closer to Trump now, that maybe we get some more insight as to what's going on with the EV tax credits. Maybe we get some insight as to what's going on with the economy itself, because yes, this is the Tesla earnings call, and I don't think they're going to talk about anything but Tesla. But if Elon knows some things about what's going on with the economy or the plans for the economy, that could give us some insight as to what we could be expecting from Tesla and how the stock price could move as well. Because don't forget, as much as we want to believe that Tesla is more powerful than the broader economy, it is not true. The broader market is always going to be moving Tesla if it is going to be that strong. So if we're expecting something to be happening in the economy, like maybe a recession, massive layoffs, whatever's going to be going on with the job cutting going on when it comes to the government, if we're going to be seeing something massive like that coming across that could affect Tesla, I want to know, because yes, we could be hearing some awesome things going on for Tesla and say, hey, the future's looking even brighter, which it usually is. Tesla is going to be super strong come in the next 3 to 5 years, but we're going to be going through some downtime and maybe a potential recession in the next year or so. That information I want to know, because that tells me we're going to be potentially seeing a pullback in the stock price. I still think we're going to pull down and fill that 218 gap. Then we're going to be looking at the fact that, oh, hey, if we're going to come down that low and we're going to be even stronger in the future, those are the times that I definitely want to buy. So this is a thing that we all know about. See Tesla dipping significantly. I want to buy, but how deep is that dip going to go? Because that dip can keep on dipping for quite a while. We've seen it happen before. We could potentially see it happen again. Another question I have is what's going on with TikTok? Is Elon going to potentially have to sell more shares of his Tesla stock to do a TikTok purchase, or does he want to buy something else that's out there now that he's working closer with Trump and the Trump administration? Is there something that he wants to use his money on a broader scale than just Tesla? I don't know what's going on there. Again, that's another thing we have to pay attention to. He did say he wasn't going to be selling any shares in 2024. He did not, of course. And he said he may not be selling any in 2025. So we're now here. Is he going to sell some? Don't know. We just have to wait and see what's going to be happening there. But I'll take a quick look at the stock price for you guys here to show you what's going on with those gaps and potential pull downs. And so looking at the chart here, and I talked about it before, we've got the gaps that go down, 358, 345, 324, 255, and 218. But I said we hit this level here at that 480 mark. And we pushed above that 480 intraday to close to 490. And then we came down, we bounced low, and then we came back up. And then we stopped at that 465 level. And I said, all right, we're bouncing down further. And then I want to see where we go because we're bouncing down. And we kept making lower lows and lower highs. Then we came back up and we hit that $422 mark. I'm like, all right, can we go back above that $422 mark? And can we close above that $380 mark? Well, sure enough, we made a higher low. That's at that 382 mark. And then we did push up above that 422 mark and closed at 433. So now we're kind of in a sideways trading pattern. I think kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen at earnings. And maybe there's something in the broader market as well with the economy that's kind of causing us to trade sideways. But seeing the higher low and the higher high gives me good promise for potentially even higher from here. Now, that doesn't stop me from thinking that we can still potentially fill that 218 gap, but there's a potential that maybe we go higher before we come lower. So again, we'll wait till earnings and see which way we move from there. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Again, I will be doing a live stream tomorrow when it comes to Tesla's earnings. I probably won't be able to start at the time that the earnings call starts. I may jump on halfway through and jump in at that point. It depends on what time I get home from work, whatever traffic's looking like. But I'll probably be on between 6 and 6:30. I'm going to schedule for around that 6:15 time frame. So if I can get on sooner, just pay attention. I'll jump on sooner, but I'm sure many of you will be already listening to the earnings call at that point. So I'll jump on when I can to get into there for you guys, and then we can do a wrap-up conversation afterwards. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.